If you could do me a favor and open up your Facebook browser and go to my Facebook page and then share it to your Facebook page. That way we make sure that everyone is seeing it live, both your friends and mine.
Okay.
And then once that's up and going, we are streaming live right now. So hello everyone in the Facebook world.
There we go. Watch together and share.
Mm-hmm.
Share that.
And let's see.
That work?
It'll work, and there you are.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, Dustin Williams. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm so happy to be here. Like, I really appreciate you for inviting me to this.
You are so welcome. You came to mind immediately, especially when I saw your post the other day in the car. Really touched my heart that you were able to just so vulnerably and openly share how you were feeling and what you were thinking. Most of this conversation, you're going to be doing the talking, but I want to give a little intro to all of my friends, family, and people, audience out watching. Obviously, I have a heart for all people, and what you're going through right now. I'm really sorry. I am so sorry that anyone has to feel or experience what you're experiencing. And we both work very professional jobs and put on our professional persona so much day in and day out. And I think it's really important that people see all aspects of our humanity and who we are as parents, as, you know, we're someone's children. We have mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, anyone else. And so that's really the point of these discussions, is to get to know you, Justin Williams, as a human being, as an individual, and what makes you unique and special. And I think the last time we were actually face-to-face in a room, partially because of COVID-19, was when you
When was that? That was so many centuries ago.
last year. It was like 2 years ago. You accepted the Black Men Honors Award from Onyx Magazine, and that was such a great, powerful room of strong men doing a lot for our community. And just thank you for everything you do every day. But Justin Williams, tell us a little bit about yourself professionally, and then we'll go into who you are as a human being.
Right. Well, I am the general manager of the Grand Bohemian Hotel Orlando, only luxury property in downtown Orlando. I actually serve on quite a few of the boards here in Orlando as well. I'm on the Downtown Orlando Partnership, as well as the Orlando Regional Chamber, as well as the Central Florida Hotel Lodging Association. And I'm also part of a nonprofit Man Up Mentoring that mentors at-risk youth here in the community, as well as I do a lot of work with Paramore Kids Zone, which is a city program ran by Brenda March. So, you know, trying to keeping a little busy. Also have a personal business venture as well. I have a construction company with my partner called Foundation Contractors. So a lot going on there, but I am actually from Atlanta, Georgia, College Park to be exact. So that is actually the home of the airport, because a lot of people don't know where College Park is. It's what some people would say is an urban area, but it was not the best growing up. So when I grew up, I actually went from one urban area, and it was called Pool Creek, which was very, very dangerous. And they moved us to a better neighborhood, which was College Park, which within a year later, it turned into a very, very, very bad area. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother, who I don't like to say single parent, because it truly took a village to raise me. So my mother and my grandmother stepped in, as well as some uncles to kind of help shape me into the man that I am today. And, you know, a lot of who I am, a lot of my business acumen, my family, the way I raised my family, it all started right there in College Park, Georgia.
Did you know when you were in College Park as a youth that like, tell me about your dreams and your thoughts back then. Did you
Mhm.
envision yourself as being the strong, powerful man here in, or obviously probably not Orlando, but did you
Mhm.
see yourself taking on this much responsibility? Because you really have your hand in so much within the community and are such a strong businessman. How did you see yourself as a child growing into adulthood?
To be 100% honest with you, during that time in Atlanta, the Atlanta you see today, which shaped a lot of us, that was a transition time when I was growing up. So now it's considered to be the African American Mecca,
Yeah.
where you have an abundance of general managers, lawyers, judges, record executives, doctors, you name it. You can find someone that looks like you that are in any position that's possible. So I started to see that transition happen around middle school. Before that, you were just you were hoping to get a job at Coca-Cola or Delta.
Those are
That was the achievement of making it. It was like, if I could just get a job that's going to last for quite a while at Coca-Cola or Delta, you were in. And I knew that that's something that I didn't want. Funny story. My mother, she told me one time, because I was offered an internship at Coca-Cola to do refrigeration repair. And I was like, I wanted to be a doctor at the time. And she's like, you need to take that job at Coca-Cola. And she was like, that's great. It's union benefits, etc. And I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And I was working part-time at a hotel in a housekeeping department, cleaning rooms and taking out trash. And that's kind of where my hotel career started. But I knew that I wanted more. I was a single, I didn't have any brothers or any siblings. So I know I wanted to have a big family.
Oh,
And I wanted to have all the things that I didn't necessarily have when I was growing up. And I knew it was going to take some hard work and motivation to get there.
wow. It's impressive to me that you had this heart where you're like, you knew what you were capable of and what you weren't going to settle for. And
Mhm.
I think that's so important for every small child. I touched on a little bit the Bronze Kingdom Museum that's opening on International Drive yesterday. And the whole core point behind that nonprofit is to teach young people who they are and where they come from so they can embrace their hopes and dreams and really
Mhm.
see themselves as becoming more, because we all know that action starts with a vision. It starts with a dream.
So,
And if you aren't capable of having that vision or that dream, you're not going to take the actions to build a solid life for yourself, no matter who you are, or where you are. And I'm so inspired by the drive and the passion
mhm.
that you have. So, a man like yourself doesn't stop growing. I feel like every stage, you're probably the type of person who's thinking 5 years, 10 years down the road,
Mhm.
who you are today. Where do you see yourself going in the future? What are your dreams now at this stage of your life for who Justin Williams is in 2030?
Well, it's not a solo effort. So the man that you see today, it took a lot of sharpening to get me where I was. I was a knucklehead when I was younger. I did some things that weren't the best decisions. Really made some really, really bad decisions. Um, and it takes some people that are in your corner. So it started, early on with my mother shaping me. She died when I was 13. But I felt like she set a solid foundation at the age of 13 for me, because I was actually established in who I was at that time. Then some of my own knuckleheaded tendencies started. But then, my wife, Shahina's, we've been married. We just celebrated our anniversary this past weekend of 12 years. She also, she helped shape me. It's iron sharpening iron. And she helped to do that, because there's some times where, I think I can't do it, or, I possibly, that idea is going to take too long. And she was someone that's like, no, you're going to do it. You can do it. Let's make this happen. She keeps this little black book of all of our thoughts and numbers, etc. And so, whereas it's interesting because I manage outside of the house, she's
Yeah.
clearly 100% the boss in the house, but she manages things, but she helps keeps me focused. So you always need people in your, in your corner to help you get there.
That's
Um, but I, but I think for me now moving forward is it's something more than just about the business and something more than just about making dollars. It's about making an impact. Because one of the things I said on an interview on yesterday is if we truly want to see change, protesting is awesome. It's great. Any way you want to, show your support is amazing. But it's conversations like this and putting things in action to be able to hold people accountable. And I want to make sure that I'm being held accountable and that I'm holding others accountable. And by doing so, we'll start to see people grow and manifest into their greatness.
absolutely. You could not have said that better. And for people watching from all over the world, probably tuning in right now, I do have some friends in India who constantly watch. Justin, right now, the Grand Bohemian Hotel is straight across from Orlando City Hall. So you're probably going to hear some sirens in the background. There's a lot of activity going on at City Hall right now, a lot of protesters. I was just down there yesterday, and it's people with so much passion for a heart to make change, right? And there's all kinds of conversation about the effectiveness of that. That's debatable, neither here nor there. But what I love is that so many people actually care that much. You're seeing the streets filled with masses of everyone from young to old, every color, and it's nice to see that unity. But I think really what I want to see is people doing everything they can in every moment, like this, taking the courage to reach out to someone and say, hey, I'm a white person. I don't really know how to navigate this space. I care about you as a human being. I want to support you. Teach me how to do that. Teach me what you need so I can be here for you. And for me, that just meant really understanding my friends at a deeper, more intimate level. And Justin, we've seen each other in multiple situations in business, passing, at downtown partnership events and the like, but I don't know you. I don't even know the names of your children. And I'm sorry. I almost posted a picture of you and your wife and your children in a Facebook post, and I don't know their names. And as a friend, that's not okay. Like, tell me a little bit about your family, because you have a beautiful family and you also are Muslim, and that's another dynamic. So
it's funny because a lot of us don't know each other. And I've realized now that I've probably had more conversations with people that when the doors of this business were open, I was seeing them more, and I've had more conversations now than I've ever had before. And I think that that's a problem. So I think it starts with us having these type of conversations every single day, because what happens I can speak for myself in an in a mixed household, because my wife is Lebanese. And obviously I'm African American, but we have these type of conversations every day. There's literally a conversation about race and culture of some sort, good or bad, that happens every single day. Because I also had to educate on certain things that I go through that she just may not go through. But then you throw in the Muslim dynamic, then there's certain things that I go through. And then there's a dynamic of me being an African-American Muslim versus her being an Arab Muslim, because people automatically think I'm with the Nation of Islam and Louis Farrakhan, so there's so many different complexities. But if we got to know each other and had true, genuine conversations, and if we just took one important fact out of every single conversation that you had with someone and you remembered it, then you would know that person more and more and more each day.
I love that. That's so beautiful. I'm going to try not to cry during this, and people be patient with me. This is the first attempt, and Justin's so kind to let me navigate this space with him and be open to this moment. I think you're right. Understanding each other and learning from each other is so important. How are your children handling this right now? Like, what is their perspective and view of what's happening? And how are you able to parent them through this situation? Because that has to be challenging.
It's interesting. I swear if my kids were running the world, I think, if kids were running the world, we'd probably be in a better place. I mentioned the other day that my son, he said, I wish, Dad, right now, this is the disconnected states of America. And to me, that was just so profound coming from, from a 10-year-old. And he says, why don't all the people of different colors just come together? And now the conversations are, anytime you hear, because we're having adult conversations, so if you hear the words police, government, president, protest, it sparks a different emotion in them. So, me and my wife can be talking and joking on the phone. It just happened this morning, and we were talking about police or protest, and my daughter said, is Daddy going to be in trouble? So it's now their minds are automatically thinking, what's going to happen to Daddy if he's caught? And as I said the other day, I can't tell them that nothing is going to happen, because right now we don't know. I know that I'm treated differently from, wearing a suit than wearing a pair of jeans and some Yeezys. Completely different. I know if I walk into a place, I'm looked at differently, even with my gray hair, and I'm not wearing my jeans down below my behind, but people will still look and treat me differently. Not all people, but some will. They'll take a second glance at me, and then they find out who you are, and then things are you're treated a little differently. I've been in hotels, and people have asked for a manager, and the general manager, and I said, oh, I'm him. And I said, no, I'm not looking for the shift leader. I'm looking for the general manager. A lot of people's egos couldn't take that, but that's something just to be, you get used to it, and you don't react in a negative way. You kind of educate them on who you are and how you can take care of their need. But this happens every single day. So if we could all have conversations that focus on growth and forward movement every single day, that's when we'll start to see the change. Yeah. Because as I said yesterday on another interview, I don't think that necessarily we're going to change deep-rooted racism. It's not. But if we can compress it and suffocate it to where it's not given as much life, then maybe we have a chance at getting this together. Because the kids were supposed to be the chance. But when you have people that are teaching racism and these views to their kids, that takes us another step back. So let's put some systems in place to kind of like just suffocate this hate a little bit so we can start to spread more love, because there's always going to be both.
Absolutely. I think when you move with love as the standard, and it really, light does outshine that darkness. And if we can give empowerment to people with a voice, so we can stand up in the rooms and situations, I think we've all found ourselves in a room where things are being said that shouldn't be said, and having the courage in those moments to stand up for what's right and true. And I want to go back for a second to how you talked about wearing a suit versus wearing your jeans. And I think that's a really important point, even socioeconomically. And I have to be careful here, because I don't want you to think that this is where.
Just go for it.
Just go for it. So I had an experience the other day that was very similar to that. And it was kind of mind-boggling how judgmental people can be off the cuff based on just physical representation, just first sights, first instinct. I've been rollerblading Lake Baldwin for a month, 15 to 20 miles a day. People are respectful, they'll wave, they'll smile, all good. The other day I decided to sweep the lake because I'm tired of tripping on mulch and I'm worried about the safety of children, right? So I get out there and I get the broom out at 4 a.m, whatever, 4:30, and I sweep the trail for 3 hours. Well, once the sunrise starts coming up and people can see me and I am drenched, I'm disgusting. They literally, people who used to respect and wave and smile, it was 50-50. It was a 50-50 mix. Some of them were like, hello, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. And the other half were like, treated me like I was a janitor. Like I was like a $9 an hour. And I was like, here I am doing this as a volunteer because I want to help make the world a better place. This is something I can control. This is something I can take action over. It's a little thing, but it makes a difference for people. And because I didn't look a certain way, because there was this predisposition that I was at a lower, like people, we're all people. I don't care if it's a gas station attendant, a grocery store clerk, the person at Walmart. It doesn't matter what color a person's skin is or what job they have or what they're wearing. We should be treating people like people. And that fact that mental block, that judgment based on what we're wearing, what color skin we have, it just should not happen. That's my opinion. And I don't know, Justin, I want you to do the talking here because I think
Well,
I don't even know the space that we're navigating, and this is such new territory.
well, I think, for that, I mean, that's something that feeling that you had, that's something that we go through, every day, like literally every day. I've had to make decisions on, what I'm going to wear based off of where I'm going to go and who's going to be there. So I'm not looked at in a certain light. Then you have, my wife who has made a decision to wear a hijab, which is the head covering for Muslims. And people also have a notion about that. Are they oppressed? Did you make her do it? Is it going to be in all black? Are you hot? Do you not fix your hair? There's so many different things. So, my wife, when she made the decision to wear a head cover, it was, what? I want to make sure I am one of the most stylish Muslim women that you're ever going to see. I can still be modest in my clothing and still be stylish. And if anybody knows my wife, you can't make her do anything. So it definitely wasn't me that made her do it. But these are the things we look at. My daughter, Sama is her name, which means forgiveness. She's 9 and she has this humongous bushy hair. And my wife says, I will never press. I will never put any chemicals that alters her hair because I want her to find the beauty in her hair. That is not something that you can buy. You can buy it, but it won't be yours. But she wants her to see the beauty in her hair. And I often think, looking at the roles reversed, is do those type of conversations happen in other households? Because this is the type of conversation that we have to have in ours.
Yeah. That should happen. We should embrace our natural beauty and as human beings. I think it's amazing that you found such a strong-willed, confident woman. How did you meet your wife?
Yeah. So I'll give you the real version because I always say she saw me and she fell in love, but that's not what really happened. She didn't even know I was there. But we met in Washington D.C. and we were both in the hotel business. She's in revenue, I was in operations, and we ultimately we fell in love. But the funny story is I asked her out on a date, and she was like, absolutely, in the employee cafeteria. So she's like, I don't date. And I found something that was so amazing about that because you know what, she was holding true to her values. So if I wanted to get to know her, I just had to get to know her. For her, we had the old school method where I had to go and meet her brother, who was really the father of the family, and make my intentions known when I wanted to marry her. But she was just a beautiful spirit, as well as being beautiful on the outside. But she was just beautiful, and it was the best decision that I've ever made in my life. And she's given me some amazing kids from it. But I have 5 children total. I have 3 from a previous marriage. I have my oldest Jada, then I have another one named Janai, a daughter. Then I have a son named Jason. And then I have my other son named Muhammad, who lives with me, and Sama, who lives with me as well. So I was going to go for 10, but then I realized that those all come with a sticker price to them.
That's phenomenal. Oh my gosh. 5 children. See, and this is something I didn't know about you. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think you should keep going. The world needs more of your children.
I don't know. The way it's really a scary place right now in the world. Because, we're all like, now we're being very overprotective of our kids and keeping them in a cocoon. Like, for example, the virtual schooling, we said, well, maybe next year we'll just continue schooling them at home because we're worried about, not just COVID, but it's just the world, it feels like such a scary place. And I think that's something that we have to kind of remind ourselves of is we've got to get back out. We've got to be normal. We've got to interact. We've got to engage with people. So that's a reminder that we have to do for ourselves every single day now, because we're a little sheltered right now.
Yeah. How are you doing all in all? I mean, everyone's handling this differently. You, much like myself, are an extrovert used to being out with
Mhm,
people. This is,
mhm,
I mean, the world is a scary place and we're all trying to just figure this out. I feel like every month adds a new layer of something unexpected. And I don't
mhm.
think any of us really want to know what July looks like right now. It better be bright and sunny.
No, no, it's difficult. You know, we've got some really, really good friends
Yeah.
that, you know, they quarantine their kids, we quarantine our kids so they can at least interact. Then they have this whole virtual world that they're on their phones and they're interacting with each other. Um, but we have to, no matter what, like we've got to be able to keep it safe, keep
Yes.
your mask, keep your gloves, and understand that some of that stuff is just here to stay. But if we lose engagement, this issue that we're dealing with right now with racism and people's backward thoughts, that's only going to get worse
Yeah.
because they're going to be in the home
Giving up
educating
time.
themselves with their own thoughts,
Mhm.
and it's going to get bad. So, you know, we just got to try to engage where we can, having conversations like this. I think this should happen every day. Everyone should find someone to have these type of conversations about every single day.
I would love that. I would love to see more human connection and open
Mhm,
understanding, getting to know each other. Um, you know, I before we end everything here in a little while, I
mhm,
definitely would like your recommendation on more people
mhm.
that you think want to have
Absolutely.
their voice heard, more people who, have things to say, whether and I'm not really going to structure these conversations in any way. I think it's just important that it's people talking and hearing each other. And
Mhm,
is there anything that's on your mind or in your heart that you want to share that you haven't shared with us yet? Because I don't know that I know the right questions to ask. I just
mhm.
really want to make sure that you're heard and seen for the human being that you are, because you have such an amazing heart and soul. And I think we do need to get to know each other on a deeper, more intimate level, not just
Mhm.
so professional all the time.
Well, one of the things, it's so interesting that all of this is taking place. You know, I had a conversation with someone in the business, in the hospitality business, pre-COVID, and we were talking about how I need certain organizations to be more engaged um, in diversity,
Yeah.
and because there's not a lot of representation. You know, when you can look and say that I think there's two now. I don't know after furloughs and layoffs, but there were two African American general managers in all of Orlando. We're the hotel mecca, and to say that there's only two, so automatically when you walk into a room, things look a little bit different for you. And so that's something that we all have to change. So I urge a lot of those people to say, hey, go find someone that looks differently from you, um, and try to help mentor them. I'm not saying you have to do it that way or that's the only person that you're going to mentor. But there's multiple people that I mentor. But try to at least find one
Yeah.
that doesn't look like you, and try to bring that person along the way. Because guess what? Ultimately, that's what I have to do. Not even if it's not by choice. 9 times out of 10,
Yeah,
I have
you're
to
mentoring.
that doesn't look like me. So just go out, step outside of your comfort zones, ask the tough questions of others, ask the tough questions of yourself. Um, Make sure you have accountability partners, people that can set you straight and you can set them straight. You know, when things go a little bit left. I have a really, really good friend. His name's Ahmed. He sells real estate here in town. And we can talk to each other and I can say, man, that you probably shouldn't have said it that way. And he can say to me, hey, you probably shouldn't have said that. You could have said it a different way. And we hold each other accountable. And if we start to do that and we're holding each other accountable, that can go a long way. So just believe in yourself, believe in this world, and don't give up.
Yep, I knew you were going to get me misty-eyed at some point. I'm there. How can I do better as I introduce this chat series and as I bring people on to have conversations? What questions can I ask to move the needle, to open people's perspectives, to start the conversations that we all need to hear? The goal is to kind of hoping that these conversations can be a catalyst for change, a foundation for people to have the courage to have the tough talks. How can I serve you better and our community better in these conversations? And how can you hold me accountable to setting the standard high enough to make change happen? Because your voice should be heard, and your fears and concerns and how you're feeling, you need more support from everyone. All of us should be supporting everyone right now.
You know, I always say that consistency is a key to the breakthrough. So I mean, I think if you're having these consistent conversations, that's a great start. But also, I think it's good to be able to, if we're going to say we're holding each other accountable, what are we holding each other accountable to? So it would be nice if maybe if we're going to hold each other accountable to something, that there's a follow-up to that accountability later on that people can follow. And that way we can see that things are continuing to move forward and to grow. And that's true accountability.
Maybe anyone who's watching this video and feels somehow moved by this, if you can comment in below what kind of impact this has on you today and how you can take whatever inspiration you get from this and go apply it today. Tell me, tell Justin, tell us how this is helping you make change for our community. And obviously Black Lives Matter, and I will say that boldly. We want to support each other and we want to make change. So if this is helping you take courage and take action, tell us how, so we can keep fostering that growth and that dynamic within our community, because it's time. It's time we stand up for each other. It's time we support each other, and it's time we smother racism. And
Absolutely.
It just shouldn't happen. None of what's happening right now should be happening. And if we're proactive, long-term, planting those seeds of hope and change every day, we can start to grow a beautiful garden of love and prosperity, I believe.
Yeah, I had a good friend of mine. He works for the Greater Orlando Sports Commission, and he texts me just randomly this morning, and he says, "I watch your Facebook. I hear you. I'm listening." Man, that went like those few words. It gave me fuel for the rest of the day, because it's not something that he had to do, but I was on his mind enough to say, "I hear you. I'm listening."
Justin, we hear you and we're listening. Is there anything else you'd like to share today?
No, thank you. This was awesome. You're awesome. I appreciate it. You know, anyone else that's looking on, you need to be here having these conversations. It's amazing. I'm going to give you a list of some gentlemen and women that I think that you should be speaking with. But this is awesome. It's freeing to just be able to have a conversation that's just not attached to business, but it's just genuine good conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really easy to have the business chats and it's easy to know what questions to ask, but this is a whole new field, and I'm happy to help in whatever way I can. And please feel free. You've got my cell phone number. If something comes to mind and you're like, "Miranda, I want you to take action on this," that's how you can hold me accountable, because I mean it when I say I'm here for you, and I will do whatever it takes. So if you need me to help out in Paramore Kids Zone or whatever comes up, don't hesitate to reach out, my friend.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Justin. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.